Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our webinar on combining building efficiency and district energy for more sustainable cities. This is a Sustainable Energy for All webinar, and it takes place on the 1st of September. My name is Maryke van Staden. I will be the moderator of this session. I'm the Low Carbon Cities Program Manager at the ICLEI World Secretariat, and my co-host is Lily Riahi, Advisor of Sustainable Energy in Cities at UNEP. I'd like to very briefly introduce my colleague Lucy, who will focus on introducing the technical features.
Hi, thank you, Maryke. Very briefly, just to familiarize yourselves with the technical features of this webinar software today, you will all be muted until the question and answer portion of this webinar, in which case we will unmute you. However, over the course of the webinar, you will have the option to write any comments or questions using this by clicking on the chat icon. It should be on the upper left side of your panel. We hope you enjoy. Best. Over to you, Maryke.
Okay, super, thanks. One point, this webinar will be recorded, so we also hope to share it widely after the event today. I'm very briefly going to introduce to you the agenda. We have a lot of speakers, and everybody has been asked to speak quite concisely with their very specific messages. We've combined two different energy efficiency accelerators. First one focusing on buildings, the second on district energy, because also there is a lot of synergy potential there, and our speakers will be addressing various elements in this. And as Lucy indicated, we will have an interactive session at the end. We will also have two polls in between with various questions. Now, most of you are probably familiar with the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. This is a very important initiative of the UN, and it has three main aims: to ensure universal access to modern energy services, to double the rate of improvement in energy efficiency, and to double the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix. All of these three targets are incredibly important considering climate change, the need for energy security, and many other reasons. There are 6 initiatives at this stage called accelerators. These energy efficiency accelerators are sector specific, and there is one on lighting, another on appliances and equipment, one on fuel efficiency for vehicles, the 2 we will be focusing on buildings and district energy, and the 6th one on industry. Each of these is run as a unique initiative and has very particular lead partners, and organizations and cities can join and engage in each of these. Introducing the Building Efficiency Accelerator. ICLEI is one of the partners that is leading under the guidance of the World Resources Institute, specifically the Ross Center for Sustainable Cities. We have a few cities already on board that will be getting direct assistance and support from us. I'm not going to read through the long lists, you can see these, but already this is a very nice and growing, well-developed initiative. And we are delighted to see also a mix of companies as well as NGOs and cities working with us. Now, why is efficiency in buildings so important? Clearly, a lot of old building stock exists in the world, and these buildings consume nearly 40% of energy demand and account for about 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions globally. We need to address this because it is a large impact sector. It has huge potential, in particular to reduce energy demand, and the aim is to reduce by 1/3 by 2050. This sounds very far away, but if you consider how long it takes to implement building policies and to construct or renovate buildings, this is a timescale that still requires fast action from now until then. And again, the long-lasting implications. Buildings last for 30 to 50 or even hundreds of years if you look at the beautiful old historic buildings. And poor choices today can lock in high costs, carbon emissions, and poor urban services, to be avoided at all costs. There are multiple benefits in the economic, social, and environmental fields. Now, we have a building efficiency conundrum. The technologies are available and already cost-effective. clearly they will continue to develop and further evolve. But there are a lot of barriers in place. These are mostly behavior and institutional, not technical. We will be running a poll a little bit later to see what are the main barriers in your area. But awareness, technical expertise, performance uncertainty, a lot of these things do need to be addressed very urgently and can efficiently be addressed when one has a concerted effort by the partners in place, working also with national governments who need to also ensure that the enabling framework condition is in place. We need assistance in funding, in financing, and we need to have good decisions that also look at an integrated approach. Most of these barriers need to achieve a deep efficiency, also meaning a long-lasting efficiency. Now, acceleration of policy efforts is clearly at the heart of this initiative. New partnerships will enable implementation of ambitious projects and policy packages that can address these barriers, bridge the efficiency gap, and avoid the lock-in of inefficient building stock. In the Building Efficiency Accelerator, in brief called BEA, cities are encouraged to sign up to. And what are they required to do, and what are they committing to do? The overarching commitment is to double the rate of building efficiency already by 2030 in the targeted sector of its geographical jurisdiction. We definitely need to create a baseline to understand the performance of the buildings in that area. We need to understand which interventions are possible, and the cities need to commit to implementing one enabling policy and one demonstration project, which will be announced at the COP21 in Paris. In Paris, at the COP, there will be a key decision impacting on the whole world globally on reducing emissions and on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but also on encouraging adaptation to climate change and enhancing resilience. And buildings need to deal with both these aspects as well. The third commitment, cities need to track, report annual progress, and share, of course, their best practices with other governments. We will do and implement activities in two phases or two types. The light touch will be open to all local governments, and the deep dive, we will have more selective work with a few cities, mostly also due to the limited funds available, that focus very much on the development, implementation, and improvement phases. However, all the cities will be able to benefit from the light touch approach that we take. Now I would like to hand over to my co-moderator, Lily Riahi. Over to you to talk about the district energy in cities.
Thank you, Maryke. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we hear you well.
Okay, great. So I'd like to start by giving a brief definition of what district energy actually is. And, well, as you can see on the screen, district energy is a broad approach that modern district energy systems are a broad approach that combine district heating and cooling with elements such as combined heat and power, thermal storage, as you can see here, heat pumps, and or decentralized energy. So this is here for your reference, and I think it's important to really understand that the basics of district energy are no longer just providing heating and cooling services through heat infrastructure, but really combining various technologies and applications in an integrated approach. So why is district energy important? Well, we all agree that climate and energy are key priorities, but the heating and cooling sector have remained unaddressed. As we are discussing today, buildings, for example, half of the energy we're consuming in buildings is for heating, cooling, and hot water services, and the majority is coming from fossil fuels. So clearly, urgent solutions are required that reduce demand and shift supply if we're going to achieve our climate and energy ambitions. District energy is a solution that allows us to address both simultaneously. We can, for many cities around the world, district energy will be quite essential to reaching 100% renewable energy and carbon neutral targets. With district energy, the combined heating and cooling of buildings, we can not only make city-level energy infrastructure more efficient, but we can also integrate renewable energy sources while reducing cities' coal and oil consumption and therefore reduce costs. So we see this in the next slides. For example, here, district energy provides a scale and infrastructure to connect large-scale renewable energy and waste heat, which otherwise cannot be connected to buildings on an individual basis. So many cities like Paris, Tokyo, Toronto are connecting sources of free cool, for example, to replace air conditioning or other decentralized solutions. And in regions or neighborhoods, areas, cities with high heat and cool demand density, district energy is actually frequently more cost-effective than individual building solutions. We found in our publication by up to 50%, depending on, again, the heating and cooling demand density. So these various benefits that are not only associated with improving energy efficiency and connecting renewables. So there's multiple benefits that come from developing modern district energy systems. And in researching district energy, we at UNEP and ICLEI and Habitat, we identified that more needs to be done to raise awareness of these multiple benefits and to support cities in achieving them through district energy. So how are we going to do that? Including achieving doubling the global rate of improvement of energy efficiency through district energy. We've utilized the global and neutral platform of the UN to build a partnership through which experts who've been working in this field for decades, some of which are on this call today, like Empower, Riahi Empower, and of course cities like Warsaw, that this expertise can be combined and efforts can be combined to address the barriers to district energy. Of course, only by harnessing the expertise that is in the field can we accelerate efforts that are already ongoing and support cities to deliver low-carbon, energy-efficient, and cost-effective district energy systems. We have 3 core objectives that have been agreed to and have emerged as core areas to address with our partners. And these include increasing awareness on the multiple benefits of district energy, as I've already mentioned. Many think it's a technology that is only about heating, for example, or that it's confined to certain countries. So we want to really shatter these myths and showcase best practices. Enhancing and developing local and national policies will be critical in identifying and overcoming barriers, but also to enhancing local government capacity to support, plan, and deliver district energy. And, of course, creating an environment that favors investment in district energy systems, particularly by the private sector. So we have basically, the initiative will work across 3 broad areas. We're undertaking assessments, policy activities, and implementation activities. Assessments will be made at the city level in select cities. And building on these city assessments, national cost-benefit analysis of district energy can then be made. Assessments will be critical to justifying local and national policy investment roadmaps. We also will work in the initiative to support national frameworks, policy frameworks, and in particular, building on some best practices such as in Europe, we will be working to have policy frameworks supporting city-level assessments, which can lead to significant regional development of district cooling and heating in cities, because many are for the first time required to consider how they can influence heating and cooling demand in their planning. As well as supporting national policy development, the initiative will, of course, as I mentioned, disseminate best practice from various cities that are our key partners, and including, Paris, Frankfurt, London, Warsaw, Dubai, etc. And implementation activities. So implementation activities, I will take you through the next slide. We can't, of course, provide deep technical assistance to all cities and countries, and for this reason, we've created 2 tracks of activity in the initiative. The first is what we've labeled light touch activities, similar to the Building Accelerator. And these activities will be targeted at a large number of cities and will be looking to address barriers such as lack of awareness or unsuitable policy environments through trainings, webinars, and various rapid assessments that will be taking place in cities, and some city twinning. And then we have the deep dive, which is for the pilot cities, which we're, for those cities that are committed to really making transformative changes. We have activities that we label deep dive, and these go beyond information sharing and exchange to include technical assistance and capacity building in different regions to demonstrate a replicable approach to develop modern district energy systems and to support the delivery of a bankable project, so investable project. The initiative has already begun light touch and deep dive activities, and at the moment we're focusing in Asia Pacific for district heating in China and in India for district cooling. We're also engaged in other regions in Latin America as well as Eastern Europe. So the various activities that will be undertaken in multiple regions is here for your reference, which includes in each region we will aim to do in the next 2 years 5 country assessments. We'll be looking at 25 cities with very diverse climates, so we can have different prototypes for methodologies and replications. We'll be doing demonstration projects, 5 of them, including the policy investment roadmap in the cities. And there will be attracting project co-finance for the implementation, and then looking to scale up through regional capacity building, learning, and replication. I just want to underline that the methodologies that we're undertaking in the the capacity building and training activities that we're undertaking is really rooted in a technical guide that was developed over the last 2 years and launched in February of 2015 by our executive director. It's a UNEP flagship publication that was entitled District Energy in Cities Unlocking the Potential of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. UNEP, ICLEI, and UN Habitat and C2E2 worked with many partners of the District Energy Initiative that are now continuing to deliver these trainings, and over 45 cities worldwide. And together, the publication with the cities came out with concrete policy, finance, and technology best practice guidance, very detailed on addressing heating and cooling sector in cities through the improvement of efficiency and integration of renewables. Here is a list of the 45 cities, as you can see, from around the world who we're continuing to work with. And through this publication, we built on these experiences to form a decision tree and a policy investment roadmap that comprises of 10 steps that are vital to long-term sustainable district energy, which we'll be following in the pilot activities and cities that we will be working with. And I would invite you to visit our website for more information and detailed guidance from the publication at unep.org/energy/des. Thank you so much. Back to you, Maryke.
Thank you very much, Lily, and definitely a recommended good read. The guide is really an amazing document, and also not specifically only for technical experts, but very much for policy makers to understand what is possible when you look at modern district energy systems. We will now run a quick poll. We would like to get a feeling for which organization you represent. So the poll will come up on your screen, and just select the most appropriate option for the organization that you represent, and we will then very briefly give you close the poll and then display the results as well. So please select the appropriate option on your screen. We'll give you 2 seconds to tick, and then we'll move forward to the results. Okay, Joe, let's close the poll and see what we've got. There we go, quite a nice mix. Not many national governments. We definitely need to get more of them involved in this work, also to work on the vertical integration with the local and subnational governments. Excellent. Let's go back to my screen and we will continue then with the slide on how do the accelerators actually benefit cities. Actually, that is a very key question, and this is also to all levels of government. The partners that are implementing efficiency in the building sector aim to develop a joint shared vision. There we go, I'm just opening up my screen again. Okay. Lucy, confirm you can see my screen. Let's assume you can. So the shared vision and agenda, I think, are important for both the accelerators to make sure that we know where we wish to move to and also how to get to a particular point. The private sector commitment is key in this as well, and the collaboration between the different governments to avoid that silo effect which actually is in place, because we do deal with things at a sectoral level, but we need more integrated approaches. And also better coordination and planning between all levels of government, which is the vertical integration that I referred to. Knowledge exchange with cities, countries and global partners is a key approach in all the accelerators, and we do hope to collect excellent good practice cases that can inspire all the other actors that have not yet engaged at a level of detail that is needed to make this transition to sustainable energy. The second cluster, technical assistance, is of course very interesting, also looking at the holistic assessment of efficiency opportunities and tailor-made to local conditions and objectives. We will be building capacity, training local government policymakers as well as technical colleagues, and look at stakeholder engagement in the project development and policy design phase to make sure that the policy has ownership and that the implementation will be optimized. And last but not least, looking at the funding opportunities for policies and projects. And there ICLEI has launched the TAP program, which is very relevant, and we will give you some information when we send you the web link for the recording. Last but not least, international recognition and regional leadership is key, and we do wish to recognize those cities, also the ones that will be presenting now. Very briefly, I wish to share with you the menu of policy options, both for the Building Efficiency Accelerator as well as for the district one, which will follow now. But you will see that there is a correlation. This is also why these two accelerators work very closely together. We're looking at codes, building codes to optimize energy performance. We're looking at how to set targets and how to set the best kind of targets that are achievable. We'll have an approach, a module on government leadership. What can different levels of government do, from public procurement to setting policy and ensuring there is an enabling framework condition, and all the other activities. The financial mechanisms are also being addressed by a number of different groups. And if you look at the district energy approach, very similar in the modules where we will be giving capacity building and support the local governments and the national governments to work on this. If you look at the tariff regulations, the local and national tariff regulations that protect consumers and need to stabilize district energy business models are quite key. So we're also looking at the financial and economic aspects of both these elements. Last but not least, let's look at where are we moving to from here. There is a clear call to action, and this is a call to you to engage, be it at a ministry level, different levels of government, industries, the private sector, universities, NGOs, international organizations. If we have a common approach using these accelerators, we can really move forward to doubling the global rate of improvement of energy efficiency. We know what to do, we know how to do it, we just now really need to commit and move forward. And both the Sustainable Energy for All Building Efficiency Accelerator and the Global District Energy in Cities initiative welcome and warmly invite your support in moving forward in these areas. The COP21, the UN Climate Conference in Paris in December, will be quite a key moment where organizations and groups come together also to make their commitments. And as you heard before, the cities that are invited to engage in these initiatives are asked and called for to commit and make very specific commitments. So we do indeed look forward to seeing what this means and how you could engage with us. And ICLEI in this case is your city or your local government partner. The names you see displayed there, myself, Maryke, my colleague Angie and Lucy, are here at your disposal to also, should you have any questions or comments. Specifically, the lead partners of the different accelerators. The Building Efficiency Accelerator is led by the WRI with Jennifer and Eric, your contacts. and the district energy one with Jahiza and Lily as your main contact. So please do not hesitate to reach out and speak to us, engage with us, and make sure that we answer your questions fully to make sure that you can then in turn commit. I'd like to run a second poll, if I may. Joe, if you could assist with the second poll. This will be again displayed on your screen. Okay, I'm not sure, Joe. I do not see the poll at the moment. So the second poll will be focusing on the 3 most important barriers that you face when you deal with sustainable energy issues. What are the challenges that you face? If you could select the 3 most relevant ones, please go ahead. And if Joe and Lucy can please advise, because I do not see the poll on my screen. All right, maybe I'll hand over to Lucy, as I'm not 100% sure, since I cannot see the poll, where we are. Maybe we could display the results.
Thank you, Maryke. All right, so in terms of the top 2 to 3 main barriers, our attendees today have chosen awareness, technical expertise, and a lack of funding or return on investments standing in the way.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Lucy, and thanks everyone for participating.
Funding was in the lead there.
Clearly, we are addressing the right topics in both these accelerators as well. Thank you very much, Lucy, and thanks all. I would now like to hand over, and I'm really delighted to introduce our next speaker. That would be Ingo Wagner. He's a policy and project officer of Euro Heat and Power. They are obviously based in Europe and deal with heating and power, and are a strong, excellent partner in the field of district energy, and have done a number of very interesting work. So Ingo, over to you to share very briefly, if you can, the building efficiency and the district energy relationship and opportunities for action. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I hope you all see the presentation.
Not yet, Ingo.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. First of all, thanks a lot for the opportunity to being in this seminar. We've always been a strong supporter of the system approach, and we are really happy to see that there are actions towards combining the building efficiency and the system efficiency part.
Ingo, sorry to interrupt. Would you mind clicking on share screen? We cannot see your screen yet.
I did so. Do you see it now?
Unfortunately not.
Now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, it's a cloud system. It's sometimes a bit tricky. Where was I? Yeah. So we are really happy to see this this approach and this combination happening. When we look at the 2 initiatives, then there are a lot of synergies in there that we like to underline and that we support a lot. For us, of course, it's a local matter. You know, it's a lot of stuff is done on the national level, but in the end, both the building efficiency and the district energy development must happen in cities. And we've supported it so far, and we will continue so. And we are happy to see this in both initiatives. You already mentioned a couple of things like building codes and strategies, building certification. Also matters I will touch on. upon in the next minutes too. Because of a lack of action on the higher level, or of a lack of integration, as we will see in the next minute, we really think that the UNEP initiatives are of utmost importance, and we hope that the influence they have will lead to a better system-level thinking. But there are also some technical synergies, not just synergies in belief or the system approach as such. But if we look at district energy systems, then what they can do for efficient buildings is to give them an efficient supply of locally available resources that otherwise would be wasted in the surrounding. But at the same time, efficient buildings allow for the utilization of heat sources that we couldn't use in inefficient buildings because the temperature is simply too low. This just as a very basic technical point of view. Now, I already said that there are things going on the national level, and I would like to have a look with you at the EU example, which is clearly not purely national, but counts in this case. We have a split approach. It's not really policy integration. We have the building level on the one side with the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, and the system level approach on the other side with the Energy Efficiency Directive. In the Buildings Directive, we have a nearly zero energy building target, which states that you should have buildings with a very low energy demand, and this demand should be supplied by renewable resources, including nearby and on-site. So you would think that district heating and cooling is integrated in this approach, but still the definition is very vague, and the national definitions depend on reference cases and on cost optimality studies. Those cost optimality studies can be done in two ways. You can have a macroeconomic study, taking into account all the system level effects, or you can have an individual system study, so a building system study, an investment-based study that does not take into account all the macroeconomic effects. Now, the idea of district energy is to use those macroeconomic effects, or to increase those effects. And well, logically, if you don't take them into account, then you cut out this idea, and all you do is you concentrate on decreasing the energy demand and on increasing on-site production. At the same time, in the Energy Efficiency Directive, there are targets for building refurbishment, and in Article 14, the potential assessment of DHC and CHP in the different member states. Unfortunately, this potential assessment is not taking place. So what we have in the end is we have a building performance directive that tells us we should increase the efficiency of our buildings, but mainly by taking into account the individual building. And we have an efficiency directive that tells us to look into an assessment that's not going on. Fortunately, that's changing also on the European level, but there are also other initiatives that look into connecting building side actions and system level actions. I guess you've all heard of BREEAM and LEED, which are the two world biggest building certification schemes. BREEAM is British and LEED is US American, and they take a bit of a different approach than the European building rules. First of all, both take a sustainability approach. They do not only aim at energy, but also at resource use and water use. And they use a credit system. So instead of looking at the energy consumption or energy supply as such, they give different credits for different solutions. and by this make it a bit easier to support policy choices. Also, they promote innovative solutions, so they are not completely technology neutral, because they are forward-looking, and they try to identify solutions for building site actions and system-level actions that lead to the best possible result. Now, why they are interesting is because they both introduce community schemes, and I'd like to have a short look on BREEAM communities. BREEAM communities was designed because, as it states, energy actions on a larger scale level, like on a community level, can have an increased impact compared to individual building solutions. So the BREEAM people designed this scheme for large-scale developments that could be whole districts, of course. What they don't do is they do not consider the individual building performance, but they link this scheme to the individual building performance assessment scheme. So you get additional credits on this scheme if you have enough sustainable buildings. What it includes, and what we generally think is important, is that there needs to be an economic assessment and an energy strategy comparing different solutions. This is what is missing in the European or in the EU scheme. Neither for the building side is there a mandatory comparison, nor on the national scheme. Then it states that site-wide demands need to be taken into account, so not just single buildings within the construction. The connection to and the construction of DHC need to be taken into account, and low to zero carbon sources nearby and on site can be taken into account. But as I said, the scheme requires efficient buildings, so we see this link. And if we look into the sustainable building scheme, then we have also mentioned there that a study must identify whether heating grids might be more beneficial than individual solutions. Now, this is a voluntary scheme, or both of them lead to. They are voluntary schemes, and on the mandatory side or on the legislation side, not that much happens. And we, as I mentioned before, hope that linking up the two UNEP initiatives might fill this current policy gap. And we really believe that combining those on the city level will help shaping the future framework. Basically, the combination of the two has to answer two main questions in our opinion. Where's the cost optimal balance between building site action and system action, and how do we ensure that the individual side and the system level are linked? For the assessment of the cost optimal balance, there are a couple of examples in the legislation, but we developed a bit of a different approach in a project called Stratego, which is funded by the European Union. And I invite you to have a look at the website, what was done there. It's a study on currently 5 member states breaking down heat demands and supply on the individual, on the city level, taking into account individual building demand. The more open question is, how do we ensure that we have those connections? So basically, what do we need to do that the consumers connect the efficient buildings to our heating grids? There are a couple of champion cities in the District Energy in Cities initiative that have very nice approaches to this. Because in the end, we could write it in the legislation that you must connect your buildings, but we don't believe that this is an aim that we should have. We should never force people to connect. We believe that by raising awareness that the two combined can increase the benefits, by passing on knowledge to the planning people, by pointing out the advantages, for example, the lower emissions, and by ensuring that the price is lower, we give enough incentives to the building owners and to the utilities to link up. As I said, there are a couple of examples in the initiative. One, for example, is Milan. And Milan does not force people to connect, but it supports connections by a great campaign raising awareness for the link between building efficiencies and the connection to very efficient district heating grids. Also, of course, there are minimum energy efficiency requirements that shifted in this direction. Tokyo was already mentioned before, and what Tokyo does for bigger developments, they say there must be a study that shows the alternatives, and there must be a study to check whether district heating and cooling are a viable solution. Last, there would be Paris, where they do zonal planning and decide on in which zones district heating and cooling is a good option, and ask the building owners to check whether it makes sense to connect. This just is a very short introduction to those cities. You find them all in the publication. You find more information on the different schemes on the relevant websites. This is something we could talk about for days, but I'm not going to do so. Just keep in mind, only with the connection, with the linked efforts between building side and the system level, we can come to a cost-efficient or cost-effective and optimal sustainable solution in the end. If you have further questions, please get in touch with me. And otherwise, thanks a lot for the attention and the opportunity, and I pass back.
Thank you very much, Ingo. Much appreciated. I think that very well summarized the joint approach and the effectiveness when dealing with both buildings and in the district level. And I find it interesting, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat box. We will collect the questions and address these afterwards, after all our speakers. But I do know people do like to remember what they ask, so feel free to use the chat box or jot down your notes. Without much ado, I'd like to hand over to Warsaw. We have two speakers from Warsaw looking at the building efficiency and district energy initiatives from slightly different perspectives. I'm very pleased to introduce Leszek Drogosz, the Director of Infrastructure Department of the City of Warsaw in Poland. So Leszek, over to you.
So thank you very much. And I'd like to say that I'm greeting you all from the probably hottest capital cities in Europe now. We have 35 degrees in Warsaw. So it's not easy to start a presentation about how to think about the heating system. But my presentation is mainly about this. And starting from the first information about the city, I'd like to stress only two numbers. The first, this is the number of inhabitants, 1.7 million, and the budget expenditures, 3.4 billion. It means that we have 2,000 euros per one inhabitant in Warsaw. It would be easier to understand our policy in the costs. From our goals, we are still keeping our sustainable energy action plan in action. So we are basing on this, trying to reach these goals the same like in the European policy to be more efficient in the number of at least 20% and to be more climate friendly, reducing CO2 emissions in the at least number of 20%. So in our sustainable energy action plan, we have a lot of goals with the retrofit of buildings in housing sector, in service sector, in public sector, and of course modernization of the heating system. So in this area we are planning and we are expecting investments in the level about 2 billion euros. And in the district heating system in Warsaw is interesting case. It started in organization in 1952, and in 1960 was established the municipal heating enterprise, and 2003 it was the commercialization of our company. In 2012 the city of Warsaw sold this company to the Dalkia French company, and currently we have owner of district heating system in Warsaw. This is the Veolia Energy Warsaw. So this privatization gives us a new space for the works in this system. So this changes in ownership structure give us the new possibilities for benefits for citizens, and of course we have guaranteed investments secured by the contractor in this process. The system is the largest in Europe, in European Union, next to Berlin. So the network is larger than 1,700 kilometers, and we have 78% of the citizens connected to the system. So this is I think pretty good number, and also the number of turnovers is really good and interesting, but main interest of us is to keep the prices in the district heating system on the good level, attractive for the citizens, to attract them to connect to the system. So as you see on this graph, this is only in Hungary we can have lower prices in the district heating system in Europe. But when we make a look for the prices in Poland, you could see that the Warsaw is the cheapest large city in Poland. So our system is really working really efficient and giving space for the development. So, and of course the system is cheaper than electricity, cheaper than heating fuel, and cheaper than natural gas. And so also interesting case, this is our modernization of the wastewater treatment plant, when we are also now producing electricity and heat from the biogas and also from the sludge. And this is also interesting case because this production is giving us about 30% of the consumption of energy for the street lighting system in our city. So it means it's really efficient. And some projects we are currently finished in Warsaw from the energy efficiency in buildings. These are projects financed by European Union, like the Open House project, like E3 Soho, when we were testing ICT technologies for the building efficiency together with Genova and together with Saragossa. The other projects larger, this is the ICLEI, and also currently we are starting with some European projects to work with the efficiency in the large scale, because we are thinking about 3,000 households in the project to test possibilities for the improvement of the model of energy efficiency in buildings. And this is from my side almost all. Only one word I'd like to add before marching. Last Sunday we had a picnic with climate in Warsaw, when during this picnic we were promoting energy efficiency, but mainly we were promoting the climate affairs among our citizens with the subject of the COP21 in Paris. So this is also our work, to promote and to speak to our citizens about all that important aspects like the climate protection in the perspective of COP21 in Paris. So thank you very much for your attention. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me and do you see my screen?
Yes. And yes.
Okay, great. Nice to hear and meet you all during this webinar. Excuse me, I must switch presentations. Okay. My name is Marcin Wróblewski and I will be talking about current and upcoming projects of the City of Warsaw connected with subjects of the building efficiency and district energy. First of all, I must underline that a lot has been done in the field of thermal retrofit of buildings in Warsaw in the recent decades, which led to decreasing energy consumption in this sector, both as to electricity and heat. There is still a lot to be done as to some energy efficiency measures in Poland, but actually in the field of thermal retrofits we have quite a sound system of assistance schemes operated by both NFOŚ, which is a great donor. It is the Polish Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management, and Polish Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego. So it led, for instance, to such progress that a couple of years ago the average annual consumption of heat in Warsaw exceeded 16 terawatt-hours annually. Now it's about 13 terawatt-hours. But as you can see from this graph and from this slide, there is, in the housing sector only, there is still a potential of reducing heat consumption exceeding 2 terawatt-hours. So still there is a lot to be done. Of course, it also needs the reducing energy consumption also requires development of smart grids and smart meters in houses. We already have progress. First smart meters have been installed. And when you have smart meters and consumers that know how to limit energy consumption in their households, and we are trying to also to assist the Warsaw citizens in that, then we have really smart consumers that do not overpay for energy. But these thermal retrofits that I have mentioned have been in majority quite simple actions, like replacement of old windows, old doors, and so on, adding additional insulations. But as our CAP states, we are already thinking about more advanced buildings, and such buildings are already existing in Warsaw, either after the very exhaustive thermal retrofit or as a brand new buildings. So we want to introduce passive buildings, low energy buildings, and that is in the wider category of energy efficient buildings. And such buildings are already constructed by the companies, mainly by the companies active in Warsaw, because there are many office buildings. We were quite surprised to discover a couple of years ago that Warsaw has such huge volume of office buildings that applied for one of the building certifications like BREEAM or LEED. That is for over 400,000 square meters of the area to be covered by such certification. next to investments in energy-efficient buildings, there are investments in the Warsaw district heating system. Our contract of sale of Spec Heating Company guaranteed us a substantial investment in the heating network that are shown in this table. You can see different numbers and details here. What is the most important is the automatic, because it is the these are the solutions that are most up to date. These are automatic meter reading and intelligent heating network projects, so smart grids in the heating network. All different minor EU projects and our actions in the field of energy efficient buildings are meant to, of course, ultimately for Warsaw to be really energy efficient, smart and intelligent city. But it is, of course, the task for decades. So first we want to create and implement the pilot project of the low carbon area in Warsaw, patterned after such a leading solution like Stockholm's Hammarby-Sjöstad or Berlin's Europa City. So we want to have these pilot projects to cover the area when there will be model solutions in the field of both spatial planning, renewable energy sources, transportations like mobility, waste management and water and wastewater management. Of course, it will be the very complicated and long-term projects consisting of different sub-projects with different financial montage. And we have already applied for a couple of, we already participated in submitted some project proposals that are to help us with creation of low carbon area in Warsaw. One of them, urban learning, already obtained financing. On this slide, you can see a couple of possible locations of the low carbon area in Warsaw. The most probable of us is Targówek Przemysłowy, industrial Targówek, because there is the source of clean energy, that is ZUSOK, waste incineration plant that will be substantially extended and modernized in next years. Warsaw, represented by our department, participated last year in the first edition of the Horizon 2020 program. And these are the project proposals that obtain financing. You have the urban learning that also will help us with creation of low carbon area, because this project is about integrative energy planning. So we'll be learning, mutually learning and cooperating with Berlin, Vienna, Stockholm and Paris on how to integrate in energy aspects in municipal planning processes, which will help, for instance, with refurbishments projects in Warsaw. Another project is step by step. That is meant to reduce energy consumption in households, thanks to cooperation with users. We are targeting 9,000 households in 4 countries, including 3,000 in Warsaw. Then we have more of technical projects, Heat to Gap, about building monitoring and control tools, allowing to assess better the building energy performance data, which is to lead to the better energy performance of the building. We are also supporting, we are not a full partner, but we are supporting the CREATE project of Mostostal Warszawa, which is about thermal storage for building applications, so storing thermal energy dedicated for the specific building. And we are also starting again, because last year we didn't get financing, in the Smart Cities axis of the Horizon 2020. This year we started together with London, Milan and Lisbon as lighthouse cities, so cities that are already implementing low carbon areas. And we hope to learn from these advanced cities how to introduce similar solutions in Warsaw. But there is a larger, even though not as ambitious and low carbon area project that will be that already this year will be launched in Warsaw. There is the huge revitalization program of the Praga district in Warsaw. So for the price of more than 2,050 million euros, more than 130,000 people will be covered by this project, which is includes a renovation of buildings, thermal retrofits, connection to the district heating, but also some social aspects like creation of the new jobs in this district. And thanks to the Horizon 2020, we also hope to enhance this revitalization program, at least on some of its areas, with some more advanced solutions, for instance, including renewable energy sources. Another method of improving energy efficiency of building that, due to various reasons, has been very rarely used in Poland is the public-private partnership. So we have, in SE4ALL, so-called energy performance contracting. So basically the return of investment costs from the obtained energy saving. And we have both projects on thermal retrofits in PPP of up to 30 school buildings in Warsaw, the project of construction operation of the building of the Mokotów District Hall. Both the project that is also connected with construction sector of construction of underground parking lots in Warsaw, which are to have such advanced features as e-mobility charging points, and also the projects of almost complete reconstruction of the existing kindergarten buildings and replacing them with new low emission constructions. And all these buildings will conform to strict energy efficiency requirements, and some of them will also include renewable energy sources installations. And there is also the another kind of action undertaken by us as to the existing municipal building. From 2009 onwards, we launched the action of monitoring of consumption of electricity and gas and water and connected expenditures in the Warsaw municipal buildings. We started from the educational buildings in the Śródmieście district. Now we are expanding that to also to other districts and another categories of municipal buildings, like office buildings. And we manage the reduction of expenditures for ordered capacity of energy supply and reduction of electricity and heat consumption. But there is also still a substantial savings potential to be achieved. And we'll be also, in cooperation with energy companies, we'll be facilitating smart metering in our municipal buildings. And to sum up all of this, in the next years we are envisaging for Warsaw both the increasing number of projects in PPP and in energy performance contracting, the proper utilization of assistance schemes available in the current new EU financial perspective, and this is not utilization also of the national funds, for instance, being transferred to municipalities by the environmental fund ENFOŚ, and combining different methods of financial montage to implement the low carbon area projects, and further expansion of our actions focus on improving energy performance of school buildings and other municipal buildings in Warsaw. And we already achieved some cost savings, I might mention, by joint purchases of electricity by different departments and different municipal companies in Warsaw. So it would be, of course, in short, the summary of current and future actions in Warsaw connected with district heating and energy efficiency in buildings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcin. It's inspiring to see the diversity of activity that Warsaw is engaged in, and certainly we can learn a lot from your experiences. Moving from Eastern European leadership to leadership from Dubai, I'm very pleased to introduce Samer Kuder. He's the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Empower, and he will specifically focus on cooling systems that they have developed in Dubai. So Samer, over to you.
Yes, good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Well, thank you very much for inviting me to do the presentation about district cooling. Again, a very interesting presentation from the panelists about the heating and about how the system is working. And just to let you know that today the temperature in Dubai 45 degrees as we are speaking now. The 35 mentioned on the before, in fact, it's our night temperature. So we are much hotter than any place probably on the earth. Again, giving a presentation about the district cooling itself and specifically Empower. As you can see on the photo, this is one of our district cooling plan on the healthcare city, where we have approximately around 56,000 tons. Giving overall introduction of Empower, we are the world's largest district cooling providers in terms of capacity. It's established on 2003 as a joint venture between the DIWA, it's for the local authority for water and electricity, and TCOM, again as a partner, as a public-private partnership company. It's a degree company. It's issued by the governor, again, to utilize better resource for energy. We serve more than 30 projects outside the district in Dubai, with a capacity, total capacity of 1 million ton. So again, the type of the capacity we are talking about, it's to serve the nature of what you call cooling or the massive cooling required. We went and we classify ourselves as what you call end-to-end district cooling provider. Yeah, giving some key project we are involved on it. It's the DIFC, Dubai Financial Center, Jumeirah Beach Residence, Business Bay, Dubai Healthcare City, Jumeirah Lake Tower, Palm Jumeirah Trunk, Palm Jumeirah Crescent, Discovery Garden, Ibn Battuta Mall, and again many projects. And just to giving also some different kind of cooling systems available. Usually is window AC on our system, on our area. We have a split unit, we have a central AC, and we have chillers and district cooling. While going with the system to system, you can see that efficiency and the quality and the comfort and the environment are environmental friendly, are more while you are going to use district cooling. So again, we are talking about a system where it can provide all of these to cities, and everybody can be benefiting from the system. The concept itself, it's again been explained on many previous presentation. We're talking about a cost-effective system to have central plan, and from this central plan you distribute the chilled water through a pre-insulated pipe underground, and deliver that to buildings. This system provides, almost 50% power saving, comparing to the traditional system where it's take, like say, 1.6 to 1.8 kilowatt per ton, and district cooling usually take less than 1 kilowatt per ton. And this is definitely in our area, those statistics related to our area. So the result for district cooling system is a cost saving for the master developers and building owner, and also to the individual apartment or household owner. Also, definitely, this is the major beneficiary for the district cooling is the government, the developers of the utility in terms of the power. Again, let's try to summarize the benefits for district cooling. 50% on power reduction, reduce power generation infrastructures, and reduction in the greenhouse and gas emissions. Lower life cycle cost. Again, we are talking about a system can work between 30 to 50 years against traditional system talk about 10 to 15 years. Reliable system usually it's 99.9%. Reliable, it's around the clock, and it's have a lot of redundancy. Adding value to the buildings by using district cooling system, you free significant space from the building, reducing the vibration and noise level when the system is running, and definitely easy operating maintenance because we ask the building owner to outsource the services instead of his building his own system. So all of these are giving a lot of advantages and benefits to district cooling. What else also can be added to the district cooling? Mentioned before also on the Warsaw presentation, we have thermal energy storage TSC system, where we can, because we have big diversity between the day and night, almost like 50%. So we produce the chilled water on the night and we store it on the tank. And this is one of the plant room we have where we implement the system. And during the day, we open this tank on the peak rather than running new chillers. And again, that's giving advantages for the power providers on shaping the peak. So in terms of storing the chilled water and to be used on the night, again, storing on the night, used on the day, giving another advantage of using district cooling system. What we have found also that, as you are aware, that we are using what you call centrifugal machine with the cooling towers, and there will be a lot of use for the water. So again, we stop using the fresh water or potable water, and we start use the treated sewage influence TSC water, which again help us to reduce and better utilizing of the water consumptions, giving a lot of environment also friendly system, and number of cycling now creating for us that use the water for longer, and definitely cost effective and cost saving. Today we are a pioneer become on this industry, and we are able to using the TSC water on different type of plant room like Healthcare City and the IFC and many other plant room. Again, the TSC because of because of the water availability on our area, it's an issue. So the TSC become the solution instead of using the fresh water. Giving now, what's total by using district cooling, what total benefit can be? As we said, that better utilization for the energy resource, lower utility infrastructures, and better energy accountability by metering the end user. District cooling, it's a cost-effective alternative for our area, and it become like, you know, supported from the government, where we see that the district cooling, it's a way forward. We have mentioned about the total tonnage in power at the moment operates around above 1 million ton. We have approximately around 50,000 customers, end user receiving on a monthly bill about their consumptions. We have around 750 buildings currently we are serving from our network and plant room. We currently have 62 plant room around Dubai, and the most important that definitely the saving on the power, as I mentioned, that we have saved 836 megawatt, and this has come by putting the district cooling as we are producing compared to the same cooling being used or being produced by other method of air conditioning. So as we have mentioned that it's the way forward for district cooling. Empower was listed on the book was launched by UNEP, District Energy in City. We have a case study at page number 94, where it's showing how benefit is the district cooling. With this one, I thank you very much for letting me in.
Thank you very much, Samar. Very interesting to see the approach you take there, and also the impact on fresh water supply. Certainly, that's the kind of integrated approach we definitely need to take. The questions are flowing in, so very quickly we'll run through at least a few of those because time is against us a little bit. Vinay Diodar asked about buildings in tropical countries, because also the design of the buildings are not, well, they're not taking into consideration that they're increasing the cooling load. That is a question for Lily. Would you like to jump in, Lily? We can hear you, Lily.
Hello, sorry about that.
Please go ahead.
I'm sorry. What was the question again? Could you repeat the question? It was about tropical climates.
So it was also about the maybe incorrect building design leading to the increased cooling load, and any guidance and advice that we could be giving through maybe both accelerators, focusing on building design as well as on the use of district energy systems. Any advice you could give?
For tropical climates and buildings, yeah, we can certainly combine both approaches in tropical climates, and often even if you have low loads for heating, for example, you will be able to have sometimes combined efforts with hot water services and the cooling and district cooling, so that can still create enough demand density for cost-effective district cooling systems. Furthermore, depending on where you are in the tropical areas, you can use deep seawater cooling, which is happening in many Caribbean countries and is extremely cost-effective. So that would be something to explore. And then, of course, building codes that would integrate both building efficiency and district energy systems would be a very important policy activity to undertake. It's a bit difficult for me to give an answer because I kind of need to know more specifically the question with regards to the context, you know, what the countries or cities' needs are, what are they dense, are they not dense, what are their resources locally. So any more information for the question would allow me to give better advice depending on the barriers and living conditions.
Thanks, Lily. Well, certainly I think in all the cases the questions are very specific, also context related. So in that context, Vinay, please send us a little bit more detail, and then we could potentially point you also to useful guidance and also things for us to consider in the capacity development activities that we plan in both accelerators. Lindsay Berg asked a question to Warsaw. What kind of fuel is powering your district heating system? I do believe there was some answer on that also in the presentation, but maybe Leszek, would you like to briefly answer?
Yes, so it's a very good question, because this is the question to the capital city of Poland. And so we are currently using mainly hard coal in our system. And so what is interesting, that in the next few weeks we are starting probably largest installation in Europe for the biomass. It will be in the capacity in power 100 megawatts of heat and 50 megawatts of electricity produced only from biomass. So it is the additional element to this hard coal. And the other element is that we are switching from the hard coal to the natural gas, one of the two largest installations in Warsaw in next 3 years period. So before 2020 we will have much better landscape in Warsaw than we have now.
Okay, thank you very much, Leszek. Lindsay actually asked several questions in one, also more on the responsible resource management, which I think is quite important. Maybe we could do a brief news bit on the approach Warsaw takes and share that with you as well afterwards. Julia Panzer asking Ingo, what are the reasons from your perspective that the national governments are not conducting the assessments required by the European Union Article 14? Ingo, over to you. Ingo, are you unmuted?
Now, perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Julia. We started an assessment of the whole situation and hope to be done sometime spring next year. We believe that there are some countries who do the assessment or already have the assessment in place anyway, like Denmark or Sweden to a certain extent. And we think that in other countries, just the awareness is not high enough, and the enforcement of this article, well, also didn't really go that well so far. But we hope that the Commission picks up on this, and we hope that with the current heating and cooling strategy under development, that the member states go forward. I know that's not really a good answer to your question, but for the actual reasons, we don't know so far.
Thank you, Ingo. Certainly that's one of our challenges. I think the national governments do need to take leadership and ownership in this case, and that is also part of our aim in both accelerators, to empower also national governments to make sure that the supporting framework conditions are in place. But there is no one quick fix in that context. The next question actually very much reflects this. Question from Dorian Frieden. How do you deal with different political contexts worldwide when formulating policy recommendations? I think that is the catch. There are generic policy recommendations we can give, and these are based on the three main aims of the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. We know we want to switch, we want to increase the tempo of the transition to sustainable energy, we want to enhance energy efficiency and renewables. So that is very clear, and the policy guidelines around this are also very clear. The political contexts do not influence it at that macro level that much, but there you need the leadership of the national government, because the cities cannot drive this by themselves. They can do a lot in the local context, but they need the support of the other levels of government. And in that context, we certainly encourage and support all the levels of government to coordinate and plan together, to report to each other and engage with each other also as peers, not to have a top-down approach, because the top-down approach is not very effective from experience. We need to nearly wrap up, people. Unfortunately, we cannot run through all the questions, but we will definitely try to answer them through little news bits and snapshots on the two accelerator platforms. So please visit those regularly, and we will keep you posted. I would like to just again zoom in on this call to action. We are very much at the cusp point with the COP21 zooming in very, very fast. And this is the starting point of the next decade in which we really need to speed up and accelerate action. Time is short, and all of us need to be part of this process. So the call is indeed to all of us as individuals, but also to all of our organizations to make it work. And we've seen good practice example now from Warsaw with the guaranteed investments, 78% of the citizens connected. This is a wow figure. What is not so wow is maybe on which fuels are used. So certainly we can also support Warsaw to explore more additional renewable energy resources to be used to power the system. The example certainly that Samar shared on Dubai, very exciting also to see that the conservation of natural resources such as water is also being considered. This is what we need. We need these integrated approaches to energy using the most optimal technical materials and the planning. Clever green building design is key when you look at the building context. There are a lot of things the local governments can do, and certainly when they focus and set their targets to do low emission development, resilient development, this automatically brings us back to energy efficiency and renewable energy. The European example on nearly zero energy buildings is interesting, but clearly maybe more can be done in the European context as well. Financing lines such as Horizon 2020 are very interesting for local governments and the private sector, as well as international organizations, to work together, develop consortia, to push and drive and investigate alternatives that can work then on a bigger scale. And then scaling up. That potential assessment seems to be a blocking point from what I've heard. We need good data to do proper assessments, and then when we have proper assessments, we know how to plan and move forward. A logical thread throughout everything that was shared with our speakers today. Certainly, I think the European example with the Sustainable Energy Action Plans as a framework in which a city reports and approaches this is very inspiring, and we hope to see more of this in the future around the world. Call them climate action plans, call them energy action plans. The core is energy and sustainable energy at the heart. I would like to thank our speakers very, very warmly for their presentations. All the people who've asked questions, thank you very much also. We will definitely get back to you with the link to the recording and a few interesting links, such as the District Energy Guide, which is a great read when you have time on the train traveling to your next destination. I thank you all for joining us and wish you a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Thank you and goodbye.